The Galactic Assembly was the greatest government in the history of the universe. It had existed for thousands of years. It was made up of hundreds of different alien races. Some of them looked like giant insects. Others were made of energy or had skin like stone. But they all had one thing in common. They believed they were civilized. They believed they knew what was best for everyone. And now, they had their eyes on a small, blue planet called Earth. The leaders of the assembly watched the humans from a distance. They had watched for a long time. They saw how humans fought wars on their own planet. They saw how humans destroyed their own forests and killed their own animals. The aliens shook their heads in sadness. They thought humans were violent and dangerous children. The assembly had a rule. They could not let a violent species leave their home planet. They were afraid that humans would bring war to the rest of the galaxy. The assembly decided to act. They sent a huge fleet of spaceships to the solar system. The ships were silver and shining. They blocked the way out of Earth's system. This was a show of power. They wanted to scare the humans. Then, they sent a message to the leaders of Earth. They asked for a meeting. They wanted to sign a treaty. They called it the Accord. High Commander Tresh was the leader of this mission. He was from a water planet. His skin was smooth and wet, and he had large eyes that looked like fish eyes. He sat in his comfortable chair on the main ship. He believed he was better than the humans. He thought this meeting would be easy. He thought the humans would be happy to have friends in space. He thought they would be scared to say no. The meeting took place on a big space station that floated near the moon. The room was round and made of metal. On one side of the table sat the aliens. On the other side sat the humans. The human team was small. There were only 2 people. The leader was a man named Mark. He was tall, with short gray hair and a face that looked like stone. Sitting next to him was a woman named Lisa. She was younger, with sharp eyes and a computer on her lap. Mark looked at the aliens. He did not look scared. He looked tired. He looked at Tresh and the other strange creatures. He knew why they were there. They were not there to help. They were there to control. "We welcome you," Tresh said. His voice sounded like bubbles popping. He spoke through a machine that translated his language into English. "We are the Galactic Assembly. We bring peace and order to the stars. We see that you are a young species. You are confused. You fight too much. We are here to help you grow up." Mark did not say anything. He just stared at Tresh. Tresh continued. He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared in the middle of the table. It showed a long list of rules. "This is the Accord," Tresh said. "If you sign this, we will protect you. No one will attack you. We will give you medicine and technology, but there are things you must do. You must give us all your maps of space. You must destroy your weapons. You must let our ships guard your planet. You cannot leave your solar system without our permission. It is for your own safety. The galaxy is a dangerous place. You are not ready." The aliens smiled. They thought it was a good offer. They thought the humans would be grateful. But Mark did not smile. Lisa looked down at her computer and typed something quietly. Mark stood up slowly. He walked to the hologram. He looked at the list of rules. Then, he looked back at Tresh. "You want us to give you our ships," Mark said. His voice was flat. "You want us to take apart our guns. You want to put guards on our planet. And you want us to ask for permission to leave our system." "Yes," Tresh said. It is the only way. If you do not sign, you are a threat to the galaxy. We cannot let a threat grow. Mark shook his head. You call it protection. I call it a cage. You want to put us in a zoo. It is a golden cage, Tresh said. You will be safe. We don't want to be safe if we are not free, Mark said. The room became very quiet. The aliens whispered to each other. They were confused. Why did the human not understand this was how the galaxy worked? The strong protected the weak, and the weak obeyed. It was simple logic. Maybe you do not understand the danger, Tresh said. He tried to sound kind, but his eyes were cold. There are monsters in the dark. There are empires that would kill you all in a second. We are the only thing standing between you and death. If you reject our offer, you are alone. If you are alone, you will die. Lisa looked up from her computer. We are not afraid of the dark, Commander, she said. Mark put his hands on the table. We have read your history files. We know how you operate. You find a new race. You offer them help. You take their weapons. Then you control them forever. You use their resources. You make them serve the assembly. We are not going to be your servants. This is your final warning, Tresh asked. He was getting angry. His skin changed color, from blue to a dark red. This is not a warning, Mark said. This is a statement. We are rejecting the accord. We do not recognize your authority. We do not want your protection. And we do not want your fleet in our system. You are making a mistake, Tresh hissed. No, Mark said. He picked up the data pad that held the treaty. He looked at it one last time. Then, he dropped it on the floor. It made a loud noise in the silent room. The mistake was yours. You thought we would be easy to control. You thought we were weak. Mark turned around. Come on, Lisa. We are leaving. Wait. Tresh shouted. You cannot leave. We are not finished. We are finished, Mark said over his shoulder. He walked toward the door without looking back. Lisa followed him. She closed her computer. The door slid open, and the two humans walked out. The door slid shut behind them. Inside the room, the aliens were in shock. Tresh sat back in his chair. He could not believe what just happened. No one had ever rejected the assembly. No one had ever said no. It was impossible. What do we do now? Asked a small alien with 3 eyes. Tresh looked at the empty seats where the humans had sat. He felt a strange feeling in his chest. It was fear. But he pushed it down. He was a high commander. He had the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. They are just primitives, Tresh said. They are stubborn children. They will regret this. They will see that they cannot survive without us. They will come back. They will beg us to sign the treaty. And if they do not? Another alien asked. Tresh smiled. It was not a nice smile. Then we will make them regret it. We will keep our ships here. We will block their sun. We will stop them from leaving. Eventually, they will get hungry. They will get scared. And they will break. Tresh looked at the view screen on the wall. It showed the blue planet Earth. It looked so small. It looked so weak. Prepare the blockade, Tresh ordered. No ship leaves Earth. No ship enters. Let them see how cold the universe is without their friends. In the human spaceship that was taking them back to the surface, Lisa looked at Mark. Are they going to attack? She asked. Mark looked out the window at the stars. Soon, he said. They think they are the wolf, and we are the sheep. They are about to find out that they walked into the lion's den. But we don't have the numbers they do, Lisa said. We don't need numbers, Mark said. We have something else. We have a refusal to lose. Get the teams ready. Tell the generals to prepare Plan Red. Lisa nodded and picked up her phone. The mood on the ship was serious, but no one was panicking. The humans of Earth were used to fighting against the odds. They were used to people telling them they were not good enough. They were used to being underestimated. As the ship descended toward the blue planet, the giant alien ships moved into position around them. It looked like a cage of silver. But down on the ground, in the bunkers and the command centers, humanity was waking up. They were not afraid. They were angry. And they were ready. The Galactic Assembly had expected a surrender. They had expected thanks. They did not understand that humanity did not want to be saved. They wanted to be free. And freedom is a thing that humans will fight for with everything they have. The silence of space was about to be broken, and it would be the loudest sound the galaxy had ever heard. The giant silver ships of the Galactic Assembly stayed in their positions around the solar system. They looked like a fence made of stars. From the distance of space, Earth looked small and blue. The aliens watched the planet with their sensors. They waited for the humans to panic. They waited for the message to come. They thought the humans would call them back. They thought the humans would say sorry. They thought the humans would beg for food and medicine. But the hours passed. Then the days passed. On the bridge of the main ship, High Commander Tresh stood still. He looked at the big screen. He saw the map of the solar system. There were hundreds of red dots. Each red dot was an alien ship. They formed a perfect wall. Nothing could get in, and nothing could get out. It was a classic blockade strategy. It had worked on thousands of planets before. It always worked. Report, Tresh said to his officer. The officer was a tall, thin creature with 4 arms. He typed on a panel. The humans are silent, Commander. They are not sending any messages. They are not firing any weapons. Their ships are staying close to their planet. Their space stations are running on normal power. Tresh nodded. They are afraid. They know they are trapped. They are waiting to see if we will go away. They must be running out of supplies soon, the officer said. They cannot live behind a wall forever. They will break, Tresh said. It is only a matter of time. They are young. They do not have the discipline to wait. They will get angry, and they will make a mistake. Then, we will offer them the treaty again. Tresh was wrong. The humans were not afraid. They were not waiting. They were working. Down on Earth, in a deep underground base, Mark sat in a room filled with screens. The room was dark. The light from the screens made his face look serious. Lisa walked into the room. She held a cup of coffee in her hand. She looked tired, but her eyes were bright. The blockade is holding, Lisa said. They are sitting right on the edge of our jump zones. They have sensors listening to everything. They can hear a mouse breathe in space. Mark did not look away from his screen. Good. Let them listen. Let them watch the static. Are the preparations ready? Mark asked. Yes, Lisa said. All units are in position. The stealth generators are online. We have tested them on the moons. The aliens cannot see them. Mark nodded. And the new ships? "The fleet is ready," she said. "We built them using the old plans, but we changed the engines. They are faster than anything the aliens have seen. They are not pretty. They look like bricks, but they are strong." Mark turned his chair to face her. "The aliens think we are primitive. They think we are stupid because we use metal and fire, not shields and plasma. They think we are animals." Lisa smiled a little. "They are going to be surprised." "We are not going to talk to them anymore," Mark said. Words did not work. "They think silence means weakness. We are going to show them that silence means focus." Mark stood up. He walked to a large red button on the wall. It was covered by a plastic case. He opened the case. "Execute plan blackout," Mark said. Lisa pressed a button on her computer. "Sending the signal now." At that exact moment, strange things began to happen in space. The Galactic Assembly ships were full of computers. Their computers were connected to a network called the Galactic Net. It was like the Internet, but for the whole galaxy. It helped them talk to each other and share data. Suddenly, the network began to fail. On the bridge of Tresh's ship, alarms started to ring. Red lights flashed. "What is happening?" Tresh shouted. His skin was turning dark purple, which meant he was stressed. "Sir, we are losing connection to the fleet," the officer yelled. "Our sensors are going blind. We cannot see the Earth. Reset the system," Tresh ordered. "What is causing this?" "It is a virus," a technician said. "But it is not a normal virus. It is rewriting our code. It is coming from Earth." Tresh looked at the screen. The Earth was still there. But now, around the Earth, there was a field of static. It was like a gray fog that covered the planet. The alien sensors could not see through the fog. They did not know what the humans were doing. They were blind and deaf in 1 second. "They cut the wire," Tresh said in disbelief. "They severed the connection. They are not talking to the galaxy anymore." On Earth, the order was given. It was not an order to attack. It was an order to disappear. Human technicians worked fast. They destroyed the satellites that talked to the aliens. They shut down the big radios. They cut the fiber optic cables that led to the alien listening posts. They did not just stop talking. They made sure the aliens could not listen. The Galactic Assembly fleet was confused. Their commanders sent messages to each other, but the messages were slow. Some ships could not talk to others. They were alone in the dark. Then, Tresh saw something new on his screen. A small light appeared on the edge of the static field. Then another. And another. "Contacts!" the officer yelled. "We have multiple targets launching from Earth." Tresh leaned forward. "Finally, they are coming out. Prepare the shields. Target their weapons. I want to capture their ships, not destroy them." The silver ships turned their guns toward the small lights. The aliens waited to see the human fleet. They expected to see the ships Earth had used before. They expected bulky, slow ships. But the ships that came out of the static were different. They were painted black. They had no lights. They moved in a strange way. They did not fly straight. They jumped and skipped, like stones on a lake. They were using gravity drives. The aliens did not understand how it worked. It looked impossible. "Target them!" Tresh yelled. The alien ships fired their lasers. Blue beams of light shot across the dark space. But the beams hit nothing. The human ships were not there. They had moved before the laser arrived. They are too fast. The officer said. Our tracking systems cannot lock onto them. Tresh watched the screen. The human ships did not fire back. They just flew past the blockade. They moved with speed and purpose. They were small, but there were many of them. They swarmed like angry bees. Where are they going? Tresh asked. They are not attacking us, the officer said, confused. They are flying outward. They are leaving the system. Tresh hit the table with his fist. Stop them. Do not let them escape. But it was too late. The human ships were already gone. They jumped into hyperspace. They disappeared from the alien sensors. The blockade had failed. The humans had slipped through the fingers of the Galactic Assembly. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was the silence. Tresh sat back in his chair. He looked at the static field around Earth. He could not see the surface anymore. He did not know if the humans were building more ships. He did not know if they were preparing bombs. He knew nothing. Inside the Galactic Assembly Senate, far away from Earth, the leaders were panicking. How did they do that? A senator screamed. They are primitives. They should not have that kind of technology. They cut the connection, another senator said. They are an unknown variable now. We cannot predict them. Tresh spoke to the Senate from his ship. They rejected us. They isolated themselves. And now, they have ships that can move faster than ours. We have lost control. On Earth, Mark and Lisa watched the report. The fleet had escaped. The path to the stars was open. The blockade was still there, but it was useless. The humans could go wherever they wanted. They must be very angry right now, Lisa said. They are not just angry, Mark said. They are scared. For the first time in a long time, the Galactic Assembly is facing something they do not understand. They are facing a mystery. And they hate mysteries. Mark looked at the map of the galaxy. There were thousands of stars out there. The Assembly had controlled them for a long time. They thought they owned the map. But now, there was a new player. A player who did not follow the rules. A player who did not want to talk. They will try to break the blockade, Lisa said. They will try to shoot at the static field to see what we are doing. Let them, Mark said. The field is strong. While they are busy looking at Earth, our ships will be out there. We will find friends. We will find resources. And we will prepare for the day they decide to come in. The mood in the room was not happy, but it was strong. The humans of Earth were not primitives. They were survivors. They had spent thousands of years fighting on their planet. They knew how to fight a stronger enemy. You do not hit them hard. You hit them where they are weak. You make them blind. You make them scared. The Galactic Assembly had expected a war of ships and lasers. They did not get that. They got a war of silence. They got a war of shadows. And as the static swirled around the blue planet, the aliens realized that they had woken up a sleeping giant, and the giant was not in the mood to go back to sleep. The humans had left the table, but they were not leaving the game. The silence that followed the departure of the human ships was heavy. For 3 days, the Galactic Assembly fleet did nothing. They stayed in their positions around the solar system, their silver hulls gleaming in the starlight. Inside the ships, the alien crews were nervous. They did not like the static field that covered the Earth. They did not like that their sensors were blind. High Commander Tresh was pacing the floor of his bridge. He had received a message from the Galactic Senate. The message was simple and angry. Fix this. Do not let them escape. Tresh stopped pacing and looked at the main screen. The static field was still there, like a gray cloud hiding the planet. He had tried to talk to the humans, but they did not answer. He had tried to scan them, but his waves bounced off. They are hiding something, Tresh said to his officers. They are weak. They are afraid. That is why they put up the cloud. Sir, the tactical officer said. We have detected movement. The static field is rippling. It looks like they are launching more objects. Tresh narrowed his large fish-like eyes. Are they ships? No, sir, the officer replied. They are small. They look like rocks or debris. They are moving very slow. Tresh laughed. It was a dry, scratchy sound. They are throwing garbage at us. Are they trying to insult us? Perhaps they are surrendering by sending us their waste. Should we destroy the debris? The officer asked. No, Tresh said. Let it come. Maybe there is a message inside. But bring the shields up. I do not trust these humans. The small objects drifted closer to the alien fleet. They were dark and jagged. They looked like asteroids. The alien ships watched them with high-powered cameras. They did not look dangerous. The aliens relaxed a little. They thought the humans were just being childish. Then, everything changed. There was no explosion. There was no bright laser beam. There was only a sound, a deep thump that vibrated through the metal of the ships. It was the sound of something hitting very, very hard. On the bridge of Tresh's ship, the lights flickered. Alarms began to scream. Report. Tresh yelled, grabbing his chair to steady himself. We have been hit. The officer shouted. The lead ship, the Valiant, is destroyed. It is gone. Tresh looked at the screen. The spot where the Valiant ship had been was empty. There was only dust and gas floating in space. What happened? Did they fire a missile? No, sir. The officer said, his voice shaking. It was the debris. One of the rocks hit the Valiant. A rock? Tresh asked. A rock destroyed a starship? That is impossible. Our shields can stop plasma bolts. The officer tapped his screen, showing the data. The rock was moving very fast, sir. It was not floating. It was moving at almost the speed of light. It had so much energy that when it hit the shield broke, then it went through the ship like a bullet through paper. It was a kinetic weapon. A railgun shot. Tresh felt cold. The humans were not using energy weapons. The humans were using physics. They were throwing heavy things at incredible speeds. It was a primitive, brutal way to fight. But it was working. Destroy the debris. Tresh ordered. Shoot it down. But the debris was not just debris. It was a storm. The humans had launched thousands of these projectiles. They were hidden among the fake rocks. The alien ships turned their guns to shoot the rocks, but there were too many. The rocks were moving too fast. The aliens were used to fighting ships with shields. They were not used to fighting a rain of bullets. Another thump shook the ship. Then another. A ship on the left flank of the fleet exploded. Then a ship on the right. They are using simple math against us, Tresh whispered. Mass times speed equals force. They do not need fancy shields. They just hit harder than we can block. The battle was quiet and terrifying. There were no lasers crossing the void. There were only silent flashes of light as alien ships were punctured and vented their atmosphere. The human weapons were invisible to the naked eye until they hit. On the alien ships, panic began to spread. The crews could not see the enemy. They could not shoot back. They could only die. "Sir, we are taking heavy damage," the helmsman cried. "Our engines are hit. We are losing power." "Evasive maneuvers," Tresh yelled. "Get us out of here. Move the fleet back." But it was too late. The humans had planned this carefully. They had placed their launchers in orbit behind the static field. They were firing blindly, but they knew where the alien ships were. They had the coordinates from the first meeting. Suddenly, a new type of ship appeared from the static field. These were larger than the small bullets, but still smaller than the alien ships. They were jagged and black, like knives. They moved erratically, dodging the alien fire. "What are those?" Tresh asked. "They are the human warships," the officer said. "The ones we saw before. They are closing in." The human ships did not fire their big guns yet. They flew close to the alien ships. They released small drones that latched onto the alien hulls. Then, the drones exploded. It was not a big explosion, but it was enough to break the sensors and the antennas. Tresh watched in horror as his fleet became blind and deaf. The human strategy was perfect. They did not want to destroy the whole fleet. They wanted to hurt it just enough to make it run. They wanted to send a message. On Earth, in the command center, Mark watched the battle on the screens. He did not smile. War was not a game to him. But he felt a sense of grim satisfaction. "Their shields are failing," Lisa said, reading the data. "Their ships are designed to stop energy. They cannot stop a solid piece of metal going that fast." "How many ships have we lost?" Mark asked. "None," Lisa said. "Our ships are staying out of their range. We are hitting them from a distance. We are using the speed of light against them." "Good," Mark said. "Tell the fleet to cease fire in 1 minute. Let the survivors go." "Why?" Lisa asked. "We can destroy them all. If we destroy them all, the assembly will just send a bigger fleet," Mark said. "We need them to go back. We need them to be scared. We need them to tell the Senate that they cannot win. Fear is a better weapon than a gun." Back in space, the rain of bullets stopped. The silence returned, but it was a different kind of silence now. It was the silence of shock. Tresh looked at the damage. Half of his blockade was gone. The ships that were left were damaged. His beautiful silver fleet was in ruins. He looked at the gray static field. He realized that the humans were not hiding because they were weak. They were hiding because they were preparing. "Retreat," Tresh said softly. The word felt heavy in his mouth. "Sir?" the officer asked. "I said retreat." Tresh screamed. "Get us out of here. Go to the jump point. Run." The remaining alien ships turned their backs on Earth. They ran as fast as their engines could carry them. They left behind the broken hulks of their sisters. They left behind the floating debris. They were running from the primitives. High Commander Tresh sat in his chair as the stars stretched into lines of light. He felt shame. He had underestimated the humans. He had thought they were children playing with toys. But the children had built a gun that could kill a giant. He opened a channel to the Galactic Senate. His hands were shaking. He had to tell them that the plan had failed. He had to tell them that diplomacy was over. He had to tell them that humanity was not a species to be controlled. They were a species to be feared. In the command center on Earth, Mark turned to Lisa. They are leaving, he said. Yes, Lisa said. And they are taking a story with them. A story about how a bunch of monkeys with rocks beat the mighty Galactic Assembly. Mark nodded. Now, the real work begins. They will be back. But next time, it won't be a blockade. It will be a war. We need to be ready. We are ready, Lisa said. Mark looked at the map of the galaxy on the wall. The static field around Earth slowly faded away. The humans were showing their faces again. But they were not the same humans who had sat at the table a week ago. They had drawn a line in the sand. And they had dared the galaxy to cross it. The Galactic Assembly had panicked before, but it was nothing compared to the panic that would hit the capital now. The news that the human fleet used rocks to destroy starships would spread like a virus. Every alien race would look at their sensors and wonder if they were safe. The rules of war had changed. And humanity was the one holding the new rule book. The Galactic Senate was usually a place of order and silence. It was a huge hall with ceilings made of crystal and walls made of light. Thousands of representatives from hundreds of worlds sat in floating chairs. They talked slowly and carefully. But today, the Senate was loud. It was chaos. The sound of panic filled the hall. In the center of the room, a large hologram showed the aftermath of the battle at Earth. It showed the broken remains of the Silver Fleet. It showed the floating debris. It showed the empty space where the mighty blockade used to be. The images were terrifying to the assembled leaders. High Commander Tresh stood on a platform in the middle of the room. He looked tired and small. His skin was pale, and he could not look the other leaders in the eye. He had to explain what happened. He had to explain how primitives had defeated the most powerful fleet in the sector. They did not use energy shields, Tresh said, his voice shaking. They did not use plasma. They used solid metal. They used rocks. They threw them at us faster than we can track. Our shields could not stop them. They broke through like paper. The room erupted in shouting. A tall alien with wings stood up. This is impossible. Primitive species do not have that kind of math. They do not have that kind of engine power. They adapted, Tresh said quietly. They studied us. They knew our shields were weak against physical impacts. They built a weapon just to kill us. They are animals. Another senator screamed. They must be destroyed. Send the Grand Armada. Burn their planet to ash. No. A different voice shouted. It was an old alien with 3 heads. If we send the Armada, what will happen? They have shown they can kill us. They are not afraid. If we push them, they will find a way to kill the Armada too. For an hour, they argued. Some wanted to attack Earth immediately. Some wanted to run away and hide. But finally, the Supreme Speaker of the Assembly raised a hand. The room went quiet. We must be realistic, the Supreme Speaker said. We have lost many ships. The humans are dangerous. They are unpredictable. We cannot control them if we are dead. We must talk to them. We must stop them from expanding. They do not want to talk, Tresh said. They cut the communications. They rejected our offer. Then we must make them listen, the speaker said. Open a channel. Force a connection. I will speak to their leader. Technicians worked frantically. They used powerful satellites to aim a signal at Earth. They bypassed the local network and used a direct military link. They sent a message to the only place they knew humans would answer, the main government building in the old United States. In the war room on Earth, the red emergency lights began to flash. A loud alarm rang. Mark and Lisa looked at the main screen. It was washing out with static. They are forcing a connection, Lisa said. It is a high-priority military channel. They are yelling at us. Mark walked to the front of the room. He fixed his uniform. Put it on the screen. The static cleared. The face of the Supreme Speaker appeared. The alien looked old and serious. It had many eyes that looked in different directions. Humans of Earth, the speaker said in a cold voice. This is the Supreme Speaker of the Galactic Assembly. Your attack on our fleet was an act of war. You have killed peacekeepers. You have broken the laws of the galaxy. We have the power to destroy your world in seconds. You cannot win. Mark looked at the screen. He did not look angry. He looked calm. You killed your own fleet when you blockaded our home, Mark said. We gave you a warning. You did not listen. We told you to leave. You stayed. We are the government of this galaxy, the speaker said. You cannot reject us. You are small. You are alone. If you stop now, we will be merciful. We will let you live. But you must surrender your weapons and pay for the ships you destroyed. You must accept the accord. Mark laughed. It was a short, dry laugh. You still do not understand. We are not going to surrender. We are not going to pay you. And we are certainly not going to accept your laws. The speaker's eyes narrowed. You are foolish. Do you know what we are? We represent thousands of worlds. Our resources are endless. Our ships are countless. You are fighting a tide you cannot turn. We are not fighting the tide, Mark said. He leaned closer to the camera. We are the tide. You think we are hiding behind our planet? We are not. While you were busy watching our static field, our ships were moving. They are not running away. They are spreading out. The speaker paused. What do you mean? We have colonized 3 systems already, Mark lied. He wanted to confuse them, but it was also partially true. The human ships had found new paths. We have found resources you do not know about. We are building more ships. We are building more guns. We are doing this faster than you can imagine. You are lying, the speaker said, but there was fear in the voice now. We are humans, Mark said. We do not lie about war. We are leaving the cage you built for us. We are taking the hyperlanes. And if you try to stop us, we will destroy any ship that gets in our way. It is that simple. The Senate watched in silence. The humans were not begging. They were not apologizing. They were threatening the assembly. You cannot threaten us, the speaker said. If you fire on one more assembly ship, we will target your sun. We will turn it off. We will kill every living thing on your planet. You can try, Lisa said, stepping up to stand next to Mark. But remember our rocks, we have bigger rocks now. And we have very good aim. If you come near Earth again, we will not miss. The connection cut off. Mark turned to Lisa. Did we scare them? I think so, Lisa said. But fear makes people dangerous too. In the Galactic Senate, the panic was absolute. The Supreme Speaker sat down, shaking. The report from the scouts started coming in. They found traces of human ships in nearby systems. The humans were fast. They were everywhere. The assembly realized that containment had failed. The virus was out of the bottle. They are not a rogue state, one senator whispered. They are an empire. Mark did not want an empire. He just wanted safety. But he knew that to be safe, he had to be the strongest one in the room. He walked to the window of the war room and looked up at the sky. The alien blockade was gone. The stars were free. "Prepare the broadcast," Mark said to Lisa. "It is time to tell the galaxy the rules." "You are going to talk to everyone?" Lisa asked. "Yes," Mark said. "Not just the assembly?" "Everyone. The small races, the trade planets, everyone." Lisa typed the command. In seconds, Mark's face was on screens across the galaxy. He broadcast on every frequency, even the ones the assembly used for secret talks. "This is Director Mark of Earth," he said. "The Galactic Assembly tells you that they protect you. They tell you that they bring order. Today, we showed you that they are weak. We pushed them, and they broke. We reject their authority. We claim our right to travel the stars. We claim our right to trade and to live. We do not ask for permission. If the assembly tries to stop us, they will fail. And if any other race tries to hurt us, they will fail too. We are humanity. We do not break." The message went out across the stars. It was a challenge to the entire system. In a small bar on a distant trading planet, a group of aliens watched the screen. They looked at each other. They had lived in fear of the assembly for years. They had paid high taxes and followed strict rules. Now, they saw a small, young species standing up to the bully. "Humanity," one alien said, tasting the word. "Maybe they are the new leaders." Back on Earth, Mark sat back down. The ultimatum had been delivered. The rejection was final. There was no going back now. The Galactic Assembly had to make a choice. They could fight a war they might lose, or they could let humanity go. They had to learn to live with a species that did not fear them. The galaxy had changed. The balance of power had shifted. And it all started because a small blue planet said no. 6 months passed quickly in the galaxy. The stars did not change, but the way people looked at them did. The Galactic Assembly was still there, but it was different now. They were quieter. They did not send as many ships to patrol the borders. They were afraid. The news about Earth had spread everywhere. The story of the small blue planet that defeated the Silver Fleet was told in every bar and on every space station. People talked about the human rocks and the fast black ships. Other species that the assembly had bullied for years, began to ask questions. If humans could say no to the assembly, why couldn't they? High Commander Tresh was no longer in charge of the fleet. He had been sent back to his home planet in shame. The assembly blamed him for making the humans angry. But Tresh knew the truth. He knew that the assembly had been arrogant. They had underestimated the wolves hiding in the sheep's clothing. On Earth, things were busy but peaceful. The planet was no longer isolated. Human spaceships traveled back and forth to the stars. They did not go to war. Instead, they found friends. There were many small races in the galaxy that were tired of the assembly's strict rules. The humans welcomed them. They traded technology and stories. The humans did not try to rule these other races. They just wanted to be neighbors. Mark stood on the bridge of a new ship, called the Pioneer. It was a colony ship, big and strong. It was filled with families and scientists. They were going to a new planet to build a home. This was the 10th colony ship to leave Earth in the last month. Lisa stood next to him. She was looking at a map of the galaxy on a large screen. There were red dots showing human territory. It was growing fast. The assembly sent another message today, Lisa said. She did not look up from her screen. What do they want now? Mark asked. He was looking out the window at the stars passing by. They want to talk about borders, Lisa said. They want to know where we are planning to build. They want us to register our colonies. Mark smiled. And what did you tell them? I told them that we will build where we want, Lisa said. I told them that if they stay out of our space, we will stay out of theirs. Good, Mark said. They are learning. They are learning that we are not their subjects. Suddenly, the ship's computer beeped. A new signal was coming in. It was not from the assembly. It was from a small mining station near an asteroid belt. Director, a voice came over the speaker. It was a human captain named Miller. We have a situation here. An assembly patrol ship is stopping one of our cargo vessels. They say the cargo ship stole resources. Mark sighed. This again. Put it on the screen. The screen showed a view of space. A small, human cargo ship was sitting next to a large, silver assembly patrol ship. The assembly ship had its guns pointed at the cargo ship. Open a channel, Mark said. Channel open, the computer said. This is Director Mark of Earth, Mark's voice boomed across space to the assembly ship. Why are you pointing your guns at my people? A nervous alien voice answered. Sir, this ship is carrying crystals from Belt 4. That is assembly territory. You are stealing. Mark looked at Lisa. She checked the star charts. Belt 4 is not assembly territory, she said. They abandoned that belt 10 years ago. It is unclaimed space. Belt 4 is ours, the alien captain insisted, but he sounded unsure. It is unclaimed, Mark said to the alien captain. And even if it was yours, you are too close to my colony ship. You have 10 seconds to lower your guns and power down your engines. If you do not, I will assume you are hostile. You would not fire on an assembly ship, the alien said. That would start a war. I did not start a war 6 months ago, Mark said calmly. And I do not want one today. But I will protect my people. Move. Now. There was a long silence. Then, slowly, the guns on the silver ship lowered. The engines dimmed. The human cargo ship flew away safely. Thank you, the cargo pilot said. Watch your 6, Miller, Mark said. They are jumpy. Mark turned to Lisa. See, they respect strength. They do not respect laws, but they respect a big stick. The news of this small incident traveled fast. The assembly patrol ship reported back to their leaders. They said that the humans were watching everything. They said that the humans were aggressive and protective. The Assembly Senate held a secret meeting. They realized they had a big problem. They could not fight a war against humanity. The humans fought with no rules. They used simple, scary weapons. And the humans were getting stronger every day. The humans were making friends with other races. If the assembly attacked Earth, they might have to fight half the galaxy. The Speaker of the Senate stood up. We must change our plan, he said. We cannot contain them. We cannot defeat them easily. We must accept them. Accept them, a senator asked. But they are violent. They are dangerous. They are violent, the speaker agreed. But they are also fair. They only attack if you threaten them. So, we will not threaten them. We will leave them alone. It was a hard decision for the assembly. For thousands of years, they were the bosses of the galaxy. Now, they had to share it. They had to treat the humans like equals. On Earth, the mood was happy. People were not afraid of the sky anymore. They looked up and saw opportunity. They saw a future where they were free. Mark and Lisa watched the planet grow smaller as the Pioneer flew away. They were going to the stars, just like they always wanted. They were not prisoners. They were explorers. "Do you think they will ever attack us?" Lisa asked. "I don't know," Mark said. "Maybe one day. But if they do, we will be ready." We learned something important in all of this. We learned that we belong here. We are just as good as them. Maybe better. Mark looked at the endless stars. The galaxy was huge and scary. There were monsters out there. There were empires bigger than the Assembly. But humanity was not worried anymore. They had faced the galaxy and won. They had broken the cage. The Galactic Assembly was not destroyed, but it was changed. It was no longer the only power. There was a new player on the board. And this player played to win. The story of humanity was not about being the biggest bully. It was about refusing to be pushed around. It was about standing tall when everyone else wanted you to kneel. The Assembly had panicked because they lost control, but in the end, the galaxy became a more interesting place because of it. As the Pioneer jumped into hyperspace, leaving the solar system behind, Mark sat back in his chair. He closed his eyes for a moment. The war for respect was over. The age of humanity had truly begun. And the stars would never be the same.